The carbon tax is meant to keep people from buying more oil. If you're not raising the carbon tax, what other strategies are you going to use to reduce the CO2 emission?
So carbon tax, and BC was the leader in carbon tax in North America in terms of bringing that in. Why we've made it revenue neutral was to try to affect that lifestyle change for people. But frankly, it was really more about the larger centers in terms of that change, recognizing that in the more rural settings, strictly because of lack of transit or distance between towns and travel routes that people do for commerce, there's always going to be more travel and more consumption per household in terms of heating and in terms of transportation. And so in the interior, what the government did was they added an extra $200 homeowner grant to people that live outside of Metro Vancouver areas and the Capital Regional District area to recognize the fact that our climates are different and there's those travel differences. And the carbon tax was always brought in BC to be revenue neutral. So that means that the industry that was creating has an incentive, a financial incentive, to try to produce less on the carbon scale, and the people that are consuming less have that ability to get those dollars back. It wasn't meant to be a revenue source for government. It was meant to shift the dollars around. Moving forward, the federal government has now brought in a national carbon tax structure. And to give you an example how ahead BC is, it would take several years for the rest of the country to catch up to the level we're currently at before we have to start phasing the next years like the federal government's making the other provinces do. You know, so it's one of those, again, it's about the balance though, and I think your question is really more to the point of why don't we have if I'm understanding what you're saying, why don't we have a higher carbon tax to even have more reduction? I think that's when you see things like the Site C Dam in terms of trying to get the clean electricity onto the grid to reduce GHGs. The province, we're doing a lot of work on trying to support programs around methane capture, and methane creates 21 times per ton. It is more harmful than 1 ton of standard carbon. And so around landfills and sewage plants, we're working with municipalities to try to get that capture going and turning it back into an energy source instead. And so, you know, even with the Kinder Morgan project, there's a clean energy initiative fund that's going to be funded to around $50 million a year. It'll create about $1 billion for us to put back into clean energy research and development. In Squamish, there's a plant right now that's developing technology in partnership with Bill Gates and a few other very big names out there to learn how to basically pull carbon out of the air and reprocess it within an internal process. So we'll suck the CO2 out of the air and do that type of reclamation. So that's the type of technology we need to keep investing in, and that's why we're supporting things like the tech sector and other industry like that, because those are the people that are going to find the solutions to really get us to find that full reduction, and that's what the carbon tax is helping to fund, and that's where other projects like a Kinder Morgan, we've put conditions on that they need to start paying into that as well, recognizing that we will have that transitioning economy.